8 creepy stories you shouldn't watch alone. Story 1. The Footsteps Upstairs.
This story took place in Korea. One day, a man named Kim moved into a new apartment. Not long after moving in, he began hearing strange noises at night. Almost every night, just past midnight, he could hear loud footsteps running back and forth from the apartment above. It happened so often and was so loud that it disturbed his sleep. At first, Kim tried to be patient. He thought,
I just moved in. I don't want to start off on bad terms with my neighbors.
So he endured it for a while. But the noise didn't stop. Eventually, Kim couldn't take it anymore. He decided to visit the upstairs neighbor to talk things out. To be polite, he brought a box of cookies as a gesture of goodwill. He rang the doorbell for a long time, but no one answered. Left with no choice, he wrote a note explaining who he was, a new tenant living downstairs, and that he had been hearing running sounds at night that were affecting his sleep. He left the note and cookies at the door. But the footsteps continued night after night. Frustrated, Kim called the landlord to complain. He said,
The person living above me keeps running around every night. It's making it hard for me to sleep.
but the landlord replied,
That's strange. No one's been living in the apartment above you for a long time.
Kim was shocked. He started to wonder if maybe a homeless person had broken into the empty unit and was secretly living there. The landlord, who was out of town on vacation, asked Kim if he could go upstairs and check. He gave Kim the door code. In Korea, many homes use keypad locks instead of keys. Kim nervously went upstairs and entered the apartment. What he found was unsettling. The place was completely empty. Not just that, it was thick with dust, as if no one had stepped foot inside for months. Kim started to feel truly scared. He began to suspect that maybe the apartment was haunted. Too frightened to stay alone, Kim called his friends and asked them to come stay with him for a while. When they arrived, they teased him, saying,
Come on, don't be such a scaredy cat.
That night they stayed up chatting, but as the clock ticked past midnight, all of them heard it. The unmistakable sound of someone running upstairs. Suddenly, one of the friends turned pale and whispered,
We need to get out of here, now!
Without explaining, he pulled everyone up and rushed them out of the apartment. They ran to an open area nearby. Catching their breath, Kim turned to the friend and asked,
What did you see? Why did you panic like that?
The friend hesitated, then said,
It wasn't coming from upstairs.
Kim stared at him, confused. The friend continued,
That running sound, it was real. But it wasn't someone running in the apartment above.
He paused, eyes wide.
It was something running upside down on your ceiling.
Story 2. Can't Find You.
In Taiwan, there's an eerie legend. If someone ends their life wearing red, they'll return on the 7th day as a vengeful ghost, seeking revenge on those they hated most. There was once a woman who was heartbroken after being cruelly abandoned by her lover. Consumed by sorrow and rage, she put on a red dress from head to toe and jumped from a building. Before she died, she left a note that read, I'm wearing all red. 7 days from now, I'll return as a ghost and I'll find the man who betrayed me. When the man heard this, he was terrified. Fearing she might truly return, he turned to a Taoist priest for help. The Taoist sensed the woman's resentment was strong, too strong to ignore. He warned the man, If she finds you, there's no escaping her. On the 7th night, don't fall asleep. Hide under your bed. Stay silent. If you make it until dawn, you'll be safe. So on the 7th night after the woman's death, the man did exactly as he was told. He crawled under his bed, trembling, terrified, and waited. Then he heard it. The sound was slow at first, but it was getting closer, louder. And then a woman's voice echoed through the room.
Can't find you. Can't find you.
He knew it was her. She had come back. Eyes shut tight, he held his breath, praying she wouldn't discover him. Her voice grew more frustrated.
Can't find you. Where are you?
Suddenly, the sound stopped. The man froze. Maybe she was gone? He kept his eyes shut, barely breathing, too scared to move. Then right next to his ear, a chilling, gleeful whisper.
Found you.
The next morning, the Taoist priest was shocked to hear the man had died. He had followed the instructions. He should have been safe. Confused, the Taoist began investigating, asking around about the woman's death. That's when he learned something horrifying. When she jumped to her death, her head hit the ground first. And the banging sound the man had heard, it wasn't footsteps. It was the sound of her head hitting the floor.
Found you.
Story 3, My Cat. One day, my beloved cat, Milo, was killed in a car accident. After that, I completely fell apart. I cried myself to sleep every night. I couldn't focus on work at all. I was just a shell of a person. Milo used to sleep on top of my blanket. He was a bit heavy, but he was warm and comforting. About a week after Milo died, I started seeing a shadow darting quickly across the floor, low to the ground. Could it be Milo's spirit? Even if it's just a ghost, I just want to see Milo one more time. One night while I was sleeping, I felt a small weight on top of my blanket beside me, but I couldn't move. I couldn't even open my eyes to look at Milo. I wanted so badly to see him again, to touch him. Then, on another night, I felt something moving across the blanket. Then I felt something soft and wet on the back of my hand. It was Milo. He used to love licking my hand just like that. I had to see him with my own eyes. So I forced myself with all my strength to open my eyes. It took a long time, but eventually, I managed to do it. I turned my head to the side to look. And then I passed out. When I woke up, it was morning. And last night, what I saw when I finally opened my eyes wasn't Milo. It was a woman's head. Story 4, Oksu Station Ghost.
There's a famous Korean urban legend known as the Oksu Station suicide. It's about a strange and terrifying event that reportedly took place one night at Oksu Station, on Seoul's Line 3 subway. A man was standing on the platform, waiting for the last train. In the distance, he noticed a woman acting oddly. Her hair was messy, she was hunched over, and she moved in a strange, unsteady way near the platform edge. She looked drunk, swaying, stumbling, almost like she was dancing. Amused and curious, the man recorded a video on his phone and uploaded it to an online forum. People quickly flooded the post with comments like, "Take another one. She looks hot. Let's see her face." Encouraged by the attention, the man filmed a second video, this time focusing more clearly on her movements. The woman continued her eerie dance, waving her arms and legs, until suddenly, she slammed her head into the wall. Blood began dripping from her forehead. Shocked, the man posted the video again, asking the forum what he should do. One comment stood out. "Don't go near her. Look closely. She's not dancing. Something is holding her head and smashing it into the wall." The man froze with fear. He thought about leaving, but curiosity got the better of him. He turned to look again, but the woman had vanished. Had she fallen onto the tracks? Worried, he walked closer to check. Suddenly, he never posted on the forum again. The next morning, the news reported a disturbing story. A man and a woman had jumped in front of a train at Oksu Station. Authorities believed it was a lover's suicide. But when police investigated, they found something strange. The two had never met. There was no connection between them. Yet they jumped at the same place at the same time.
Story 5. What I saw through the telescope.
I have a strange little habit. Late at night, when everything is silent, I like to go up to the rooftop of my apartment building and look out over the city through my telescope. I like observing things in the distance. A blinking water tower, a lonely taxi cruising slowly down the road, or a vending machine glowing faintly on a street corner. There's something about those quiet scenes after midnight that fascinates me. My apartment is built along a slope, and from the rooftop I have a clear view of the long road that stretches west toward the hills. With my telescope, I can see every inch of that road, all the way to the top. One night, while watching the vending machine on the hill, I noticed something unusual. There was someone standing at the top of the slope. I leaned in and refocused the lens. And then I froze. It was a childlike figure, pale, frail. Its limbs were unusually thin, and under the moonlight, its skin looked almost gray. I stared at it, uneasy. Then it looked at me, directly at me through the telescope. My heart stopped. That couldn't be possible. We were far apart, unless it had a telescope too. There was no way it could know I was watching. But its eyes didn't waver. Then it smiled. A wide, unnatural grin. It raised a hand and started waving slowly. Then, still smiling, it began to run. Down the slope, fast. Heading straight toward my building. I didn't move. I couldn't. It took a few seconds before the panic hit me. I pulled away from the telescope, ran down the stairs, burst into my apartment, slammed the door, and locked it. I was shaking. What was that thing? What the hell did I just see? I grabbed a baseball bat and stood by the door, trying not to make a sound, not even breathing too loudly. Then I heard it. Footsteps on the stairwell, getting closer. Then nothing. I knew it was just outside my door. Then came the knocking and the doorbell. Again and again, as if it already knew I was inside. I tightened my grip on the bat and didn't move a muscle. I stood there like that for the rest of the night. I didn't sleep. I didn't sit down. I just waited. Eventually, the sky began to lighten. And it was over. After that night, I never went back to the rooftop. And I never touched the telescope again.
Story 6. Age.
I got on an express train late at night. About 10 minutes before midnight, a man boarded at one of the stops. As soon as the doors closed, he seemed to snap out of a daze and started glancing around at everyone on board. Then he began walking up to people, asking strange questions.
Excuse me,
He said to me.
are you 28 years old?
I blinked in surprise. Yeah, I am. How did you know? He didn't answer. He just moved on to the next passenger.
Are you 45?
Yes, that's right.
Are you 62?
Wait, how do you know that?
He kept asking random people their age, and he was always right. No one seemed to know him, yet he guessed everyone's age without fail. It felt like he had some kind of supernatural ability. Just one look at your face, and he knew how old you were. There were about 15 minutes left until the next station. Everyone in the car was watching him in stunned silence. Then he approached a woman and asked,
Are you 50?
She smiled and replied,
Yes, but I'll be 51 in 5 minutes.
The man's face turned pale instantly, like he'd just heard something horrifying. Can you guess why he turned pale?
Story 7. I kept dreaming about the train tracks.
After I started college, I moved into a cheap apartment alone. Then, I began having the same dream every night. I'm riding my bike, going somewhere, always moving forward. At first, the dream changed locations, sometimes by the ocean, sometimes on dark mountain roads. But eventually, the destination became the same, a railroad crossing. Night after night, the dream picked up where it left off. I'd get closer each time, waiting at the crossing, then crossing it, then walking on the tracks. Then one night, I was lying on the tracks, staring at the sky, and I heard a train coming. That's when I realized these dreams were leading me towards suicide. I wasn't suicidal in real life, but the dream version of me was moving with purpose, like I had no control. I became terrified of sleeping. Even naps would bring the dream back. I was exhausted, falling apart, until a friend forced me to explain. I told them everything and asked, "What happens when I reach the end of the dream?" They stayed up with me to keep me awake, but we both fell asleep. That night, I dreamed of lying on the tracks again, hearing the train. The next day, we tried to figure out why this was happening. We searched for any accidents near where I lived. One caught my attention. A woman had jumped in front of a train 2 weeks earlier, near a station I had visited. I'd parked my bike there that day, but didn't witness anything. But my bike did. We checked my bike, and under the seat, something was stuck. We took it to the police and told them everything. That night, I didn't have the dream. A few days later, the police called us back. What was stuck under my bicycle seat was the woman's eyeball.
Story 8. Something came crawling.
About 40 years ago, on a freezing winter night in Hokkaido, a train was traveling through a remote, snow-covered area. Suddenly, the train driver saw a woman standing on the tracks. He immediately slammed on the brakes, but it was too late. The train struck the woman and dragged her body for several dozen meters before finally coming to a stop. Since it was such a serious incident, they had to report it to the authorities. But back then, radio communication wasn't as advanced as it is today. The driver and the conductor decided that one of them would stay behind while the other walked to the next station to get help. They drew lots, and it was decided that the conductor would stay. After the driver left, the conductor sat alone inside the train, watching the flickering stove fire for warmth. Not long after, just as he began to nod off, he heard something outside. It sounded like something heavy being dragged through the snow. The conductor's face turned pale. The dragging sound grew closer and closer, until it seemed to be coming from the train car next to his, the one the driver had forgotten to lock. An hour later, the driver returned with the police, but the conductor was nowhere to be found. All they discovered near the tracks was the lower half of the woman's body, mangled from the accident. As they searched around the area, the driver happened to glance upward and froze in horror, clinging to him like a parasite, cold, lifeless, and unmoving. Was the upper half of the woman's body, her arms wrapped tightly around his back, as if even in death. She refused to let go.
Liked the story? Hit that like button. Subscribe for more spine-chilling tales. Share it with your friends, and let me know what you think in the comments. More horror is coming your way.